Hey everyone, welcome to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. We're here to chat about all things mental health, share some awesome stories, educate, and advocate to break stigmas and gain power through knowledge for all ages and walks of life, and give you the tools you need to boost your mental game. So grab a coffee, get comfy, tune in, get inspired, and let's dive into some fascinating conversations. Remember, your mind is super powerful, and with the right tools and knowledge, you can master your mental playbook. And while you're doing that, take care of you. Hey everyone, Christine here, and welcome back to the Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do something gentle, grounding, and real. Not that other podcasts aren't real, of course, but this is something different in the sense that it's not going to be focused on education, neuroscience, that sort of thing like other ones are. It's July, which means we are halfway through the year. And whether that feels like it was a blink or a decade since January, it's a perfect moment to take a pause. We're calling this one mid-year reset. And we're hitting pause to take a breath and just reflect back on and become aware of how we're feeling mentally, emotionally, and intentionally. I want us to gently check in, on our mental health goals, not with pressure, but with kindness, not on what we haven't done, what we should be doing. Just check in with them. So find a cozy spot, grab your favorite drink, grab a snack, or take us along on a walk with you, and let's talk. We're going to reflect on the journey so far this year. And I'm going to share some of my own stuff that I've done with this as well. Back in January, you maybe set some goals and maybe didn't. Either way, you've made it this far and you've made it halfway through the year, and that matters. These goals, I am not talking New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big fan or believer in New Year's resolutions. My stance on New Year's resolutions is that they're kind of trendy, that there's a lot of pressure attached to them. It's like what we should be doing because it's a new year. And they're pretty high expectation goals, right? So it's usually, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to eat healthy. They're pretty broad. They're not SMART goals by any stretch, but usually I'm just generally speaking. And don't even get me started on dry January because dry January usually means I'm not going to drink in January. I'm going to make it up for it in February. So I'm not talking those goals. I'm not talking New Year's resolutions. I'm talking, the goals that you can work on, you can build on, and you can review throughout the year. Stepping stones. I'm going to, of course, focus on mental health because, well, that's what I do. There's all kinds of goals that you're going to have, but I'm going to focus on the mental health goals. And I want us to remember that, and I've said this before, mental health is a state of well-being. It's an equilibrium. I often hear, well, they don't understand. I have mental health. We all have mental health, right? Physical health. You may have be experiencing mental health problems, mental health issues, mental health challenges, mental illness. But when we're talking mental health here, it means that equilibrium. So and I've said this before as well, I'm not the type of therapist who will take a course or read up on something and say, oh, that sounds fantastic. I'm going to get all of my clients to do it. I do it too. So I do my own cognitive behavior therapy to manage my social anxiety or just to manage thoughts that happen. I do mindfulness, although that's one of my reflections I have to work a little bit more on. I do the things that I get clients to do. So when I'm doing these podcasts, even though obviously they are, reflective of what I do, my education, my expertise, I still need to learn too, right? So I do research and I practice some of the things that I talk about in these. And so this is no different in the sense that I did my own mid-year reflection. and review and reset. And so I wanted to share some of that with you so that you can understand the process, not just the education part of it, kind of a real-time thing. So one goal that I try to reset each year, so I guess I just kind of continue each year, is something that is essential for my mental health. And it's one that I try not to waver on, although upon reflection, I'll talk about it a little bit. I need to tweak a few things, but that is how I start my day, intentionally and slowly. And I talk to clients about starting your day at a level 1 instead of a level 3, level 4, which would look like alarm goes off, feet to the floor, jump in the shower, get dressed, grab a coffee and toast or something on your way out the door into the car. You're like almost like fight or flight at that point. You are just go, 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 go. And that's how you're starting your day. So I start my day differently every single morning. And I'm an early riser, so it helps. But even on the weekends, I mean, I get up early anyway, but I still set an alarm. Even if I don't have to be at work till 11 o'clock in the morning, if I'm doing an evening shift, I set my alarm for 6 a.m., often up before that, but I stay in bed until the alarm goes off. That's part of it. Unless I really can't sleep, then I go and do some stuff. I start a bit earlier, but I start my day, alarm goes off. I don't get out of bed. I lie there. I stretch. So it's like a progressive muscle relaxation, but it's more stretching. I do my belly breaths, about 3 or 4 of them. If I didn't sleep well the night before, or if I know that I have quite a few trauma cases or that sort of thing that day, I will do a guided imagery. So I use my 5 senses and I go through a scene that's very calming for me. My things are fire and water. So I'll do, sitting by the lake or sitting by water or sitting at a bonfire. And if if I really want to get into it, I'm sitting by a bonfire at the lake. And I use my 5 senses to put myself there. So my breathing is slow. My heart rate is down. My body's feeling less, it's stretched out. And then I get up. And my routine, I have my lemon and apple cider vinegar shot. And then I make a coffee. And in the winter, I will sit in my recliner with my fireplace on. And in the nice weather, which is by the fireplace is my favorite too, but I sit in my screened-in porch. And sometimes I just sit there. And my cat is always in the chair next to me. In the winter, he's always lying by the fire. He loves that. And I just listen to the birds. It's very quiet. Nobody else is up. I live in a retirement community and they all sleep in. But so no one else is up. It's also like 6:15 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. And I have a bird phobia, but it is calming for me to hear them as long as they're not flying at me. And I'm in my porch. Or I just scroll for a little bit. Or I put my AirPods in and I just put my head back, feel the sun on my face through the porch and listen to music. And I give myself 30 minutes every single morning to do that. I don't doom scroll. I try to look at funny videos and stuff. Some days I just look at pictures and videos of my grandkids, right? I need to start my day that way. And then after the 30 minutes, I can start doing paperwork and that sort of thing for my business, go down to my basement, to my gym and exercise and carry on with my day. So that is a mental health goal that is very important to me. And when I was doing my reflection, I'm rocking that part of my morning goal. So my reflection, 2023 and 2024 were very difficult years for me, especially 2024. And a lot of healing took place, and it continues to. I experienced end of 2023, 2024, I experienced the biggest, most profound mental health crisis of my life. And it took a lot to pull myself out of it. And it was traumatic grief. And so I knew in 2025 I had to set some pretty clear mental health goals because I didn't want to be in that place anymore. And I had pulled myself out of it by halfway through last year, but it was still lingering in some ways. And I mean, it still is. You don't just get over trauma and traumatic grief, but these were very important to me. And so some of the things that I set for my mental health goals, and when I was reflecting, I actually forgot that I set some of these. I was just doing them. So when I was reflecting, one of them was to say yes to situations, to invites, to events, even when I wanted to say no. And I know that once I'm there, I enjoy myself. I am a social being. I'm kind of like a extroverted introvert, right? I do get energy from being around my friends, being around family, being around, people, but I also get energy from just downtime. And when you're struggling with life, with things, or when you do the job that I do, that can be really heavy, sometimes you can get into a pattern of just isolating yourself on the weekends or at night, not wanting to talk to anyone, not wanting to do anything, just, chill out or zone out. And so that was a goal that I had, that I was going to say yes when I wanted to say no. I wanted to move more because when you go through stuff that I went through, often you become very stagnant. You don't do a lot of movement, right? You kind of become, what do people say, marinate? Marinate on my couch or marinate in my bed. Somebody said that to me. I was like, okay. And so you do that. And I wanted to move more. I wanted to journal more. I used to journal and I find it really beneficial. And I want to journal more. And I wanted to be more mindful. So I do practice mindfulness. I practice mindful practice, not mindful skill so much. I'm not at a point where I can really meditate yet because my brain goes 100 miles an hour, which would be the female ADHD brain, but it goes 100 miles an hour. It's also being part of a business owner and stuff too. So I'm working on the meditation part, but I do mindful skills. So I really try to be present in the moments. When I'm with friends, I'm really trying to listen to what they're saying. I'm looking at their lips. I'm listening to as they're talking. I'm listening to their laughter. When I'm with my grandkids, I'm seeing the smiles. I'm hearing their giggles. I'm really there with them. And so that has kind of, there's been a lot going on. And when I was doing my reflection, even more so around now, there's more going on. So when I was doing my reflection, I was like, yeah, I'm not as mindful. And full disclosure, even trying to start this podcast today, poor Lily, she had to hit pause and do a reset because I came into the office and as soon as I came in, there was things going on. And I was trying to focus on the podcast and I was thinking about 100 different things. So there's a clear reflection that I need to practice more mindfulness and be present in the moment. Lily actually helped me with that, helped me with the focus strategy. And here's one. One of my goals was, and I think I'm doing okay with this one. It's kind of silly. Well, it's not a silly goal, but what I do is kind of silly. But I just want to be me. I want to find times where I am just me. I'm just Christine. I'm not the therapist, the boss, the grandmother, the mother, the sister, the aunt, the friend, the neighbor. I'm just Christine. And don't get me wrong, I cherish every one of those roles in my life. Being a mother and a grandmother is the most important things to me in my life. My business, being in my staff, my family, my friends, I cherish those. I feel very blessed and honored that I have those roles. But sometimes when you're on all the time, you just want to dance in the kitchen, right? You just want to be you. And that's what I do. That's a silly thing. It's not silly. It's good. It's cool. If someone saw me, they might think it's silly. But every time I cook, when I'm doing my meal prep, when I'm cooking, making my breakfast, when I'm making my lunches, my snacks for work, AirPods are in, music is on, and I am dancing in my kitchen. And I live in a new subdivision, and so it's like a fishbowl. So I'm sure my elderly neighbors behind are getting, a dance party entertainment, but that's okay if it puts a smile on their face. I don't know. But that was a goal that I set, that I want to do that more. I'm just going to be me, and I'm just going to do what I want to do in those moments. And I'm not going to be anything but Christine dancing in the kitchen, being silly, which is also kind of mindfulness too. And when I have a really tough day, I don't know if anyone has watched Grey's Anatomy, but Meredith and Christina used to dance it out. And that's what I do. If I'm feeling stuck, if I am having a tough day, if I've had some heavy clients, if I've had, negative interactions with people, when I'm by myself, I dance it out in the kitchen. It's always in the kitchen. I don't know. Anyway, and the last one, but it's a big one for me too. Last November, I started incorporating Mel Robbins' The Let Them theory into my life, and it has been profound in my mental health. And I've always been somebody who gave of herself, who put her own needs aside so that others would have, who would try to be the peacekeeper, who would keep her mouth shut because I didn't want to rock the boat. So it didn't matter how people were treating me. I would just, and I mean, I still keep my mouth shut sometimes, but it's for a different reason. It's because now I ask myself, is this energy that I want to put in? Do I want to carry this person's negative energy? Do I want to try to make sure this person's talking to me, or make sure this person isn't feeling, having negative feelings about me? I don't do that anymore. I keep my mouth shut because of those reasons. I ask myself, what do I want to carry? What do I want to put my energy into? Am I going to change their behavior? No. I'm very much the way I think about things now, which is so beneficial for your mental health. I kind of look at it like, if you don't agree with me, if you don't like me, if you don't understand me, if you don't want to be a part of my life, if you need to make things about you, if you have this need to be right all the time, I'm just going to let them. I'm not going to let it impact my life. And so that was huge. That was a goal that, I kind of started in November, but in January, I bought the book. I started, reading more about it and incorporating that into my life more. And I can't believe the difference. And when I did my mid-year reflection, that was huge for me. I think we often start the year with a list, right? And a lot of ambition, which is why New Year's resolutions don't work, because that ambition often fades. I mean, honestly, if, going back to New Year's resolutions, I'm not bitter about them. I'm just like, how many of you have the same New Year's resolution after the second week of January? How many of you are still doing it? And if you are, how many of you are doing it by the end of January or into February? My guess is not very many, right? Because you start off the year, it's a clean slate, it's a new book, chapter, whatever it happens to be, and I'm going to do all this. And along the way, life happened. Things shifted, plans shifted. Some days are amazing, and some days are really heavy. And honestly, that's okay. We're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to change. You don't have to be the same person or where you were 6 months ago. You're allowed to evolve, and so are your goals. So, this reset that I've done, I'm going to do with you now. I want you to sit back. I want you to get comfortable. I want you to take a big, deep breath, belly breath, and ask, what has changed in your life in the last 6 months? What's stayed the same? What have you learned about yourself, about others, and about what you need? Just sit there quietly for a minute, reflect on that, and ask yourself those questions. Reflect on the last 6 months and ask yourself those questions. So when I was doing mine, the morning routine, yeah, I rock it. The first part of it, I rock, right? So when I was doing my reflection, the downtime, the, staying in bed for a little bit and doing that, rocket. The exercise part, the second part, that's something that I struggle with. I am not looking at those struggles as pressure to change it. I'm looking at myself with kindness and asking myself, what's changed though? Why am I struggling with the exercise thing? And one thing that has changed is the social media stuff, right? And that's not a negative. That's just, that was something that's changed. I added that in. So sometimes when I'm like, yeah, I need to go downstairs and exercise, then it's like, but I could do some scripting, or I could do some content, or I could do some planning, right? Or I don't start work till 11, so I could put this time in to do some reports, and I could do, so it's something I struggle with. It's not, catastrophic. And it's something that when I'm doing my reset, I'm going to incorporate. I'm going to do it a little bit differently when I'm incorporating it. Part of my reflection too is like, what's changed, of course, and what do I need, but what surprised me in the last 6 months? And the social media, start and presence was a business goal, right? And it's not that it's been a hindrance on my mental health, because I'm having fun and doing it. But what surprised me was the amount of work that goes into it. I never, you see people on social media and stuff, you don't realize they're doing podcasts, the amount of work that goes into it, and that, the team that you need to do it. And so, and I don't even, it's not just about sitting in front of the camera. There's a lot more to it. And my girl Lily is the one that does a lot of the editing, or not a lot. She does all of the editing and giving me ideas and planning it, and tell me what, would be good for this week, and looking at trends and all of that. But planning the content and planning out each thing with the content and doing the recordings and all of that, it's a lot of work. And like I said, I'm having fun, and it's a goal that I have for my business, so it's not going anywhere. It's just that surprised me. And so that's something that when I was doing my reflection, I need to change a few things, or I don't need to change a few things. It changed a few things, right? So Fridays are a little bit different for me now than they were. I plan around recording podcasts and stuff, and weekends, mornings, I might plan to do some videos and stuff where I might have done something differently before. So that was part of my reflection, and how I can incorporate that into my world and still maintain my mental health. That being said, too, part of my equilibrium is hard work. And some people might say, how is that beneficial for your mental health? Because that's who I am, right? That's my instinct. And I often say to people, I didn't get where I am in life by being lazy or not working hard and putting in the effort. I really believe that we can't wait for opportunity to come to us. We need to grab it. And part of that is what I'm doing here. So it's hard work. How am I going to incorporate it into my life and change things so that it is a positive experience for my mental health? That's up to me. And that's part of this reset. All of this to say, changes are being made, and that's okay, because that is what the mid-year reset, reflect and reset, is all about. And growth is not linear, but we also have to check in, and see where we're at right now, so that we can continue on the path. It doesn't have to be a straight path, but it's a path. So we need to check in and see where we're at. So one thing that I think is really important is to understand your mental health landscape. And if you're going to do a reflect and a reset, you need to understand your mental health landscape. So I want to talk a little bit about what a mental health landscape is. Mental health isn't just about breakthroughs and crises. Mental health is a state of well-being. Sometimes mental health is about those small check-ins, on how you're really feeling, what your body is telling you, what those thoughts are quietly repeating. If you've been running on autopilot, that is your cue to pause. Mental health is about being aware of how you feel emotionally and mentally, what your energy levels are at, a sense of purpose and accomplishment in even the smallest tasks. It's progress over perfection. It's a state of equilibrium and determining how you're going to achieve that or how you are achieving it. And it's about checking in on what needs to be changed or what has changed, what needs to be tweaked, and what needs to stay the same. For your reset, I want you to take a few minutes after this episode to journal or just sit in silence. Ask yourself, what's been weighing on me lately? What's been lifting me up lately? What do I need more of? What do I need less of? Just sit with those questions. You can journal them or you can just sit with them. So although mid-year for us is July and it's in the summer, we typically have more energy, right, in the summer, and mood moderating chemicals are higher. And mid-year, however, it can also bring burnout. It can also bring comparisons, and it can, bring renewed motivation too. It's not all negative stuff, right? But I think that it's important that we figure out how to manage the burnout and comparisons. And that's something that you may find on your reflect. I found burnout when I was doing my reflection. And I'm not burnt out, but upon my reflection, I was like, I need to make those changes because burnout could happen. And so, when summer starts to peak, we may realize, especially if we take a vacation, sometimes that's a reflection in itself. We may realize that we have been full throttle since January. And, work goals might be stretched long. Personal expectations may be longer. Fatigue sets in, and not just physical fatigue, but emotional, mental, creative fatigue. Some signs that you might have that indicate burnout might be coming is, I'm tired, but I can't stop. I need to complete these things. I need to accomplish these things. You'll have low enthusiasm. You might have a short fuse, and you definitely lack motivation. This time of year, though, is often when people crave rest, but then feel guilty for doing it. So I want you to incorporate that into your reflection too, and your reset. So you may be saying something like, yeah, I'm really tired. I need to rest. But the weather is so beautiful. And this is Canada, so it's warm. And so I need to take full advantage of this. And I need to keep going full throttle. Yesterday I had a client say to me, it's so hot. It has been so hot here in Ontario the last couple weeks, last little while. And he said, it's so hot, but I'm not complaining because we're going to have a long winter. And I said to him, I'm going to complain a little bit because I do want to enjoy the summer. Yes, I want to appreciate the nice weather. But when it's this hot out, I have asthma. So the humidity and stuff, I can't go outside. So I'm going to complain a little bit because I want a happy medium. And he started to laugh and he's like, fair enough, right? And that's something that, again, toxic positivity, when I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to go with it. No, it's okay to complain because it's been flipping hot, right? And unbearably hot some days. And so that's part of your reset too. It impacts your mental health. And I thought about this last night when I was, doing my notes and stuff for the session. It impacts your mental health when we feel like we can't, express concern or complain about something like that. So if you think it's too hot lately, you're not wrong. And it's cooler today. It's pretty nice out today, but that's part of your reset. So what are you going to do to manage that? Maybe that's the times that you take some rest and not go so full throttle. Just remember that it's okay to pause. The engine needs maintenance. We think that downtime is wasted time. No, the engine needs maintenance, not more momentum. And then we move on to comparison. And I see this a lot. Scroll culture, social media magnifies this around mid-year. I hear about and I see, and we all know about vacation envy, productivity FOMO, someone else's perfect journey. And I'm actually going to do a full podcast on this kind of thing about, social media and how, like I see all the time, something that is on social media, it's like hashtag relationship goals or hashtag mom goals and stuff like that. And why? Because someone posted a picture, a moment in time of their vacation, or, I could sit in my house every weekend and go to some music festival or something and take pictures of me having fun and put that on social media, and people say, "Oh, I need to do more of that. Christine's doing." No, I'm not. I'm just using this as an example. No, I'm depressed and sitting in my house on the weekends, or I'm struggling, but I have that one picture and now everybody is envious or wants to be like that. And so especially in the summer, especially mid-year for us, around this time, because that's when people are getting out and taking those pictures, at the beach or barbecues and social events and festivals and that kind of thing. And so we have these comparisons that impact your mental health. Reflect on that. Reflect on how you are comparing yourself to other people. People begin asking when they see this, why am I not further ahead? Why am I not doing these things? Parents start to say, oh, look, they took their kids to Calypso and all of these different things. So why aren't we doing that? Oh, we're bad parents. And they compare themselves to those things. And that is going to impact your mental health. Reflect on that. Comparison undermines the process. And mid-year is also where we forget how unique everyone's timeline really is. One thing I want you to remember is that progress isn't performative. It's personal. It's your progress, not what anyone else is doing. And then we have this renewed motivation. Some get a second wind when summer comes along. I'm hoping you get a second wind when you do your reset and your reflection so that you can, make some of these changes. But I don't know, maybe it's the sunshine. Maybe it is reflection. Maybe you are having more downtime in the summer, or you're just sitting out in the sun reflecting on things. It's like this fresh wave of energy hits. And it's like this thought that, okay, I'm halfway through, but there's still time to change the course. And so you get this renewed energy. It's like the beginning of the year and then halfway through the year. And that's why it's really good to do the mid-year reset. People start reimagining their goals. So maybe they're going to look at it a little bit more gentle, right? So fitness goals. Maybe, for me, my fitness goals and feeling, when I did my reflection. So I'm going to do them in days that I have more time, when I'm not starting earlier in the morning, starting work earlier in the morning, so that I can get that downtime in. I can get a little bit of work done. But then the days that I start later in the day, then those are the days at my age, I don't have to work out 7 days a week, right? It's actually not good for me too. So it doesn't mean I shouldn't work out or do strength training, but it just means that I don't have to work out like I did in my 20s or 30s. So I reflected on that, and I'm going to incorporate that differently. So it's a more gentle fitness plan. Maybe it's, okay, I'm going to do this bold creative project now. Maybe you're going to set a new boundary. So it's this motivation that you get to make some changes. And that's, again, why this reflection and reset is really important. This moment when you're doing your reflection isn't about proving something. Okay, I don't want you to prove that, yes, I am meeting those goals, or, oh, I really need to change, or I am bad at this. Or I don't want you to prove anything. I don't want you to create goals that are like, prove how strong you are or how hard you work or anything like that. It's about returning to what matters. This is about your mental health, right? So it's about returning to what matters. And sometimes that's quieter and deeper. All right, so we want to look at, the reset, reframe, and realign. Now that we've reflected, so you've got your journal out, you're reflecting, you're asking yourself those questions. Now we're going to reset. And it doesn't mean that you throw away your goals. It means that you realign them to who you are now. You've asked yourself what changes. Who am I right now? What do I need to focus on now? So you don't throw the goals away, you realign them. You can have the same goals, but you just change them. Not change them completely. That's not the right word. You realign them, right? You make some changes to reflect who you are now. What you want to ask yourself when you're doing this reset is, what feels meaningful to me today? Maybe that gym schedule isn't calling to you right now and you want to get out in nature in the summer. Or maybe your plan was to change it up in the summer and get out in nature, do hikes and stuff instead of the gym. And with the heat, you've decided, I'm not doing anything now. So I'm going to get back to the gym when it's hot out, right? It doesn't have to be a profound change. It's tweaking it. That's what counts, right? Just tweaking it and reflecting, now resetting it. I want you to try a reset ritual. Turn off your phone for an evening. Revisit your vision board, or if you haven't done one, create one. Go for a walk with no destination. I've done that. That's cool. Often when we go for a walk, we're like, I'm going to go down and walk around here and I'm going to walk around this neighborhood. Just start walking. I know someone who does that. He just says, I'm just going to walk. He loves to walk, and he walks, and he doesn't have a destination. He just goes. There's something to be said about that. Give yourself permission to dream again. Give yourself permission to dream again from a different place, the place that you are now. Dance it out. That's my reset ritual. I decided when I was doing my reflect and reset, when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling stressed, I am going to dance it out all by myself. I has to be by myself. I remember one time I was dancing it out in my kitchen when my son was a teenager. And because I've been doing this for a long time, but I had a speaker on, though I didn't have AirPods in, but I had the music up loud, and it was a song that it was John Prine's That's the Way the World Goes Round. And I was dancing, and then I heard something behind me, and I turned around, and this was like just when, I think it was, it's now X. What was it? You know what? It was now X. What was it called before?
Oh, Twitter.
Twitter. I kept saying Tinder. Okay. So I turned around, and this is when Twitter was, we didn't have Instagram and TikTok then, when my son was a teenager, but he had Twitter. I didn't have Twitter. He put me dancing on Twitter, and he said, when you come upstairs and your mother doesn't know you're there and is dancing by herself in the kitchen. And at first I was like, take it down. And then I was like, that's who I am. Right? So, and I just made sure that I didn't dance when he was home after that. But that's my reset ritual. That's how I'm going to reset things. Not the mid-year reset, right? But it is a reset ritual. When you're feeling this stuff, reset it. Do what you need to do to reset it. And one thing I want us to look at now is, instead of goals, let's reframe it. Let's say intentions. It has a different connotation to it. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel this month? So what I said to you at the beginning was, I start my morning slowly and intentionally, right? I have intention to do this. What kind of energy do I want to attract? Make it your intention. So if we can reframe goals as intentions, habits, and values, It shifts the focus from performance to purpose. And I'm talking about your mental health goals. If you want to have business goals and physical goals, I'm talking about mental health because it's a little bit different in the sense that we don't want performance when it's our mental health. We want purpose when it's our mental health. I'm going to talk a little bit now about how to change goals to intentions, goals to habits, and goals to values. So let's first look at intentions over goals. Instead of, I need to lose 10 pounds by September, change that. Try, I intend to take care of my body by moving and eating healthy. It's about direction, not deadlines, right? Progress over perfection. Intentions instead of goals. So intentions allow flexibility while staying connected to who you are and staying connected to your why. I often say to clients, find your why and not, I want to get healthy, not, I want to feel better. That's not a why. That's a general statement that we're kind of conditioned to say. Why do you want to get healthy? Why do you want to feel better? If we can ground ourselves into a why, then our intention is stronger, right? There's more meaning to it. We're connected to it. Looking at changing habits, so habits over goals. Instead of, I want to write a book. That's pretty broad, pretty general. I mean, it's a goal, right? But I want to write a book. Let's make it a habit. I'm creating a habit of writing for 30 minutes every morning. When you do your reset, this is how I want you to reframe your goals. Habits create identity shifts. They're daily, they're doable, and they don't wait for perfect conditions. How many times have you said, I'm just going to use write a book as an example. I want to write a book. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm busy right now. Oh, I just want to wait till I get this creative spark. Or, I want to improve. I want to take care of my body by moving and eating better. And then it's like, okay, but I'm going to wait till Monday to start. Oh, it's not nice out. I'm going to wait till this, right? It creates we need these perfect conditions. But if you make it a habit, you don't have to wait for the perfect conditions because you're going to do it every morning, like my morning routine. It's now my habit, and some of these things that I talked about, and I said, when I did my reflection, I was like, oh yeah, that was a goal, right? That was a mental health goal. It became a habit and I just started doing it and didn't think about it. So now let's look at values over goals. Instead of, I must network more to grow my practice, try something like, I value meaningful connections and being of service. Yeah, it sounds a little hokey. And that's not really how I talk. But it's just to create an example, right? By using your values instead of a goal. Instead of saying, I have to network so that I can practice or improve my practice, saying things like, I need to, or I value making these meaningful connections. I value the service, like helping people. And so that's how I want to move forward, right? When we're doing a reset. So values ground your actions in authenticity and they guide choices when motivation dips. So if you're starting to feel a little unmotivated, if you really reflect on your values, it's going to increase that motivation a little bit and it's going to help guide the decisions that you're making. I also wanted to, I do some affirmations for myself. That when I was doing my reset, I created some more affirmations for myself, and those are personal to me, so I'm not going to share them here, but I am going to share some mid-year affirmations to reset and realign, and I'm going to use some of the things that we talked about. So like for burnout, an affirmation that you can use, you can write these down if you want to, but an affirmation is, rest is a form of resilience, right? Another one that I didn't put down here, but just popped in my head is something I said earlier. Downtime is not wasted time. I honor my body's request for stillness. For comparison, I am walking a path designed for me. Doesn't matter what other people are doing, right? I am walking this path because it's designed for me. Progress is not a race. It's a relationship with myself. It's not performative, right? It's personal. For motivation, I can begin again anytime I choose. Just because you set these intentions or you set these goals doesn't mean that you can't regroup and start again. You can do whatever you choose. You can start it, you can tweak it, you can change it, you can keep it the same. They're your intentions. Small steps build lasting change. I often do a diagram for my clients, and I say that often we're told to get over the hump first, and then you can like kind of get little, things. I can't think of the word right now that you have to do. And so I draw a diagram of like a mountain and then all these little hills. And I say, okay, that's what we often say, right? To people, just get the big things out of the way and then it's like smooth sailing. No, because the thing is that big thing, you're standing in front of the big thing, you can't see the little things. And so that big thing is all you see, and then you lose motivation. So if you put these really big, unrealistic expectations on yourself and these big goals and you don't reflect on them and see where you're at in the moment, you don't get to, and you don't keep moving, you don't get to the other ones. So then I draw a diagram of a bunch of little hills and then a big hill. And I say to the client, when you're standing here, what do you see? And they say, I see things that I can just jump over and then I get to that big one, right? So it doesn't even mean like for this, it doesn't mean that you have to even get the big one. But if we do smaller ones, it's kind of like we can just jump over them faster, right? Or with not faster because they're intentions, but with more ease. They're not as challenging. And you're not going to burn out and you're not going to lose motivation. So, positive affirmations for values and intentions. I act with purpose, not pressure. My intentions guide me more than any deadline ever could. That's a good one. I like that one, right? Deadlines add pressure. And if you set an intention of where you're at right now and what you want to realign with, then that's going to guide you more than a deadline. Often, how often do you, I'm going to lose 10 pounds by September, and the September comes and you're like, didn't lose 10 pounds. I lost 8, but I said I was going to lose 10, right? Or September's here and I haven't lost what I wanted. And so then you go into that downward spiral of self-deprecating talk and pressure on yourself. So right now, I want to do a meditation for a mid-year reset with you. It's a 5-minute meditation. I'm talking through it, so it probably won't be the 5 minutes. If I had a client in my office and I paused with them and that kind of thing, it would be the 5 minutes, but I'm going to go through this with you. So I want you right now to get comfy. Hopefully you're still comfy because I told you to a while ago, but get comfy. You can lie down, you can sit up. Just make sure you're in a comfortable position. And I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to let your hands rest gently. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. One more time. Inhale deeply and exhale softly. Feel the tension begin to melt. Your shoulders, your jaw, even your thoughts. We're going to release comparison. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Right now, let go of timelines that aren't yours. Release the weight of others' achievements. Breathe in your own pace. Breathe out the pressure to perform. We're going to reset your burnout. Still breathing, inhaling deeply, exhaling slowly and softly. Picture yourself standing under a gentle waterfall. Cool, clear water rinses away fatigue, doubt, and overwhelm. Each drop restores your energy. Say quietly to yourself, I am allowed to pause. I am allowed to rest. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Let that truth sink in. Let's reclaim our intentions. Now imagine a garden growing inside you. Your values are roots, your intentions as flowers. Notice one intention that feels alive today. Maybe it's kindness, or creativity, or honesty. Say to yourself, I return to what matters. Take a deep breath in, deeply, and exhale. Let that intention glow in your chest like sunlight. We're going to return and reground. Begin to bring awareness back to the space around you. Wiggle your fingers and toes gently. Take one final breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. When you're ready, open your eyes. You don't have to chase your goals. You get to live your values. So obviously that meditation, I went through it a little bit faster than I would if you were in my office. But normally I would take the time, I would leave some quiet silence in between. I would breathe with you and set those intentions. So use it, pause the podcast to do the breathing, take the time, and really ground yourself into this reset. No matter what this year has brought you, you're still here. You're still learning and still growing. So don't underestimate how far you've come mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So let's carry that truth throughout the rest of the year. Wherever you are in your journey, whatever you discovered through this reflection and this reset, you're still here, you're still growing, and that's more than enough. So grab your journal, center yourself, affirm, reflect on the first half of the year. What mental health goals did you set? What has changed? What has stayed the same? Where are you at with them? Breathe. Think about your values. What habits do you want to create to improve or maintain your mental health? Change your goals to intentions and tell yourself how you will participate in them. Carry your values with you. They'll lead you through the rest of the year. All right. Thank you for hanging out with us, with me. I hope this is helpful. It was a really great exercise for me to do and really reflect and reset myself for the rest of the year. You can check us out on our podcasts out on Spotify and YouTube. So Spotify, The Mental Playbook with Christine Dalgity, and YouTube, Dalgity Counseling and Psychotherapy. Like us, comment, follow, subscribe, share. All of that will help us out. All right, go grab your journal, start your reflection and your reset, and I will see you next week, and take care of you.